माननीय सभासदों, माननीय सभापति जी,
जय हिंद, जय श्री राम। चलिए, papers to be laid on the table. Shri Dr. Kaushal Kishore, Shri Kaushal Kishore.
आज की संशोधित कार्य सूची में क्रम संख्या 3 पर मेरे नाम के समक्ष सूचीबद्ध कागजातों की एक प्रति हिंदी व अंग्रेजी में सभा पटल पर रखता हूं।
So we will take up now the weapons of mass destruction and their delivery systems, prohibition and unlawful activities amendment bill 2022. Honorable members, you all know this is very important bill, and it has got international commitment and implication, and this is related to the defense. So last 3 days you have been given opportunity to participate in this bill. So I request all of you to go to your seat and participate in the discussion of this bill. So Sri P. Wilson.
Chairman, sir.
Let him speak. The honorable member wants to speak. Please go to your seat. Let him speak. Yes, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Deputy Chairman, sir.
Sir, point of order, sir.
Now,
Sir,
point of order. Excuse me, Mr.
sir, point of order, sir.
Under what rule?
258.
Right.
258.
258 is a general rule.
Yes.
So you tell me the specific thing in the rule. Under what rule you want to raise? 258 is a general rule.
Sir, listen. I can raise a point of order under Rule 258. You also know that, I also know that.
So, but others members will have to sit.
I will make my submission, then you...
Without your sitting, I cannot hear him.
I will make...
Go to your seat. What is your seat? Is it your seat?
No seat for
No,
anybody.
no, then...
Not allowed.
Seats are not allotted. That doesn't mean this is reserved for the senior members. These are reserved for the senior members. Yeah, please.
Sir, morning when I raised the point of order, it was said during question hour, so I agreed to that. But during question hour, instead of replying to the questions, ministers were replying, accusing the members. That was allowed. But now, sir, they made a statement other than replying to the question. That we have to make a submission that, sir, the chair should have taken note of that. Anything made by the minister other than the question has to be explained, number one. Number two, sir, we all have DMK, Aam Aadmi, TRS, CPM, everyone has given a notice under 267.
That has been decided on.
Please.
That is under the consideration of chairman, and chairman has rejected it.
1 minute, only 1 minute, only 1 minute. Issue was that we want to discuss suspending the proceedings, the issue of the price rise on petroleum products, and said no ruling was given, sir. No ruling was given, but the business is being taken.
I think you are going out of the rule, and out of the issue.
1 minute,
in
sir.
question hour, you
Sir,
cannot
kindly.
raise point of order. That is the rule. You cannot do that.
Let me conclude.
So your 1 minute is over.
I will conclude.
And point of order, if there is any substance, I am going to shoot. Mr. Wilson.
1 minute.
Mr. Wilson. You asked for 1 minute. I have given you 1 minute. Please. Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson, please.
yes, sir.
Don't disturb the member. Please do not disturb the member. Mr. Wilson.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You can carry on.
Thank you, Deputy Chairman, sir. Today,
Unless you give a ruling on it, what he's saying is the ruling is not given. So if the proceeding cannot proceed unless the ruling comes from the...
That has already been decided in the beginning of the house, commencing of the house on that point. So that point remains. Mr. Wilson.
thank you, Deputy Chairman, sir. Today, what is the weapon of mass destruction in this country?
It cannot go on
Honorable Minister.
unlimited times. You participate in the discussion. If there is relevant point, you can raise it. Mr. Wilson.
Continuing the proceedings.
Thank you, Deputy Chairman, sir. Today, what is the weapon of mass destruction in this country? Honorable Minister,
Mr. Wilson, please carry on.
Honorable Minister, can you tell the people of this great nation, it's the price rise of essential commodities like gas, milk, pulses, sugar, edible oils, tea, food, grains, petrol, diesel, how the government is going to control that and handle it? Price rise affects the poor and the common man. The salaries and wages are remaining the same, but the prices are soaring up. The prices of condiments
That is
and
not the
spices.
subject of the bill, Mr. Wilson.
I'll come back to
Please
the.
come to the bill.
I'm coming to the
Come
bill.
straight to the bill.
Let him speak,
Please
sir.
don't.
That is
Please
what.
don't.
That
Let
is.
him speak.
Please don't derail the discussion
I'm
on
not
this bill.
I'm not
This is a
derailing.
very important bill.
It is an
with
important bill.
international
We are walking
implications.
out, sir.
And
Sir, we are something-
it is a
We are
matter of
walking out.
importance for the
महंगाई
defense
के
of the
खिलाफ
country.
हम लोग सदन का बहिष्कार कर रहे हैं।
Please you speak on the subject
I'm-
and don't go out of the
I'm not
subject,
going-
which I will not allow.
Kindly, I am not going out of the subject. I am only on the issue. Today, what is a weapon of mass destruction in this country? I am asking the Honourable Minister, please tell the people what is the weapon of mass destruction. The weapon of mass destruction in this country is the price rise. It affects all the common man. And it affects the poor man.
I'm so sorry.
And it affects even the middle class.
Subject is different and the bill is different. If you do not want to speak, you can conclude your speech.
Sir,
Please.
that is what, sir. Sir, therefore, sir, that is what we have given notice. Sir, let's debate on this issue first. We will go on to the discussion of the amendment bill later. This issue of price rise is very important. It
No,
affects
this
every
is not the
common
subject.
man.
Nothing will go on record.
Sir, this is a.
Nothing will go on
Sir,
record. If you speak on the bill, that
Sir,
will only go
Sir,
on record.
I'm only speaking.
Nothing will go on record.
Sir, I'm only speaking.
Thank you.
Sir, I'm only speaking on the weapon of mass destruction. Sir, according to you, weapon of mass destruction is not the chemical and other things. It is about the price rise.
It is written, I think you are misguided. Please
I'm not
read the
misguided.
bill. Please read the bill. What is weapon of mass
Sir,
destruction?
sir,
So, please,
Deputy Chairman,
if you
sir.
want to speak on that,
Sir,
you can speak
sir,
or you can conclude.
Sir,
Thank you.
Sir, sir, I'm speaking on this. Sir, we are only concentrating on, sir, what is the weapon of mass destruction in this country. The weapon of the mass destruction in this country.
I think you are not interested, Mr. Wilson.
no, sir,
You are not
very
interested
important.
in this
Sir,
bill.
I'm
You are
talking-
speaking on something
Sir, I'm
else.
talking
I am
about
calling the
people-
next speaker.
talking about
I am calling the
people
next
of-
speaker.
Sir, I'm talking about the people of this country.
So
Sir, you
the
must
next
protect the
speaker
people.
is
Then go on
Dr.
to the other
Prasanta
things.
Nanda. Mr. Prasanta Nanda, please.
Thank you, Deputy Chairman, sir.
जा सकते क्या?
This is a bill concerning the security of this country, and this amendment bill has been passed in Lok Sabha in April, and this bill, moved by Honorable External Minister Sri S. Jaishankarji, amends the Weapons of Mass Destruction and Their Delivery System Act 2005. 2005 Act prohibits unlawful activities such as manufacturing, transport or transfer related to weapons of mass destruction and their means of delivery. Sir, weapons of mass destruction are biological, chemical or nuclear weapons of mass destruction and their delivery system. This amendment is to prevent persons from financing such activities. The central government may freeze, seize or attack their funds, financial assets or economic resources, whether owned, held or controlled directly or indirectly. The key features of this amendment is what I would like to little elaborate. That is, the weapons of mass destruction and their delivery systems seeks to ban funding of weapons of mass destruction and also empower this center to freeze and seize or attach financial assets and economic resources of people engaged in such activities. Then the bill inserts a new provision stating that no person shall finance any activity which is prohibited under this Act or under the United Nations Security Council Act 1947 or any other relevant act for the time being in force or by an order issued under any such act in relation to weapon of mass destruction and their delivery systems. So the punitive measures which has been given in this is it aims to give the government the powers to freeze, seize and attach funds or other financial assets or economic resources owned or controlled wholly or jointly, directly or indirectly by such person or held by or on behalf of or at the direction of such person or derived or generated from the fund or other assets owned or controlled directly or indirectly by such persons. The financial sanction which has been mentioned in this, that it empowers the government to prohibit making available funds, financial assets or economic resources for any prohibited activity in relation to weapons of mass destruction and their delivery system. Sir, passing of this bill will strengthen the country's global position and specific changes in the earlier law which was necessary so that security of the country can be ensured. Upgrading a law which was 17 years old was necessary and thus it has come to this House for consideration and passing, sir. Many other countries in this world have such legislations. Current requirement needs specific law and legal statutory ways to deal with the issue of national security. Sir, therefore, I support this bill and I think that this amendment is absolutely necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nanda. The next speaker is Ayodhya Ramireddy Alla.
Thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity to share a few of our thoughts on the proposed amendments to the Weapons of Mass Destruction and their Delivery Systems, Prohibition of Unlawful Activities Act 2005. There haven't been any amendments to the Act in the last 16 years of its inception, and I appreciate the introduction of such an important piece of legislation in the Parliament. I would like to share a few of my observations regarding the measures taken by the Centre in this regard. The first point, India has remained on the forefront in matters of disarmament and reiterated the belief that nuclear weapons, which should be abolished in a step-by-step, non-discriminatory process, which is echoed in the bill. Having committed to the policy of no first use since 2003, we have repeatedly stated the use of nuclear weapons would be of punitive retaliation in case of an attack. This bill also promotes our global efforts towards disarmament and strengthening the non-proliferation order, like supporting the Conference of Disarmament for negotiations on an international convention prohibiting the use or threat of use of nuclear weapons and steps to reduce the risks associated. The second point, the United Nations Security Council's Resolution 1540 prevents individuals and organizations, including terrorist groups, from acquiring and spreading nuclear, chemical and biological weapons and their means of delivery, while imposing obligations on all states regardless of their participation in existing treaties. India has fought a battle against terrorism for many decades. Thus, I wish to again draw the attention to the dangers of proliferation of weapons of mass destruction as reiterated by our representatives at UNSC, and request the international community to prevent possession and use of weapons of mass destruction by terrorist outfits as per the UNSC recommendations. Next point is on biological weapons, the new threat. We have repeatedly emphasized on following the Biological and Toxin Weapons Convention and pitched for strict compliance on banning production of the entire range of biological weapons of mass destruction. In the recent past, we have seen the widespread effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, with the reports indicating that coronavirus was manufactured in Wuhan Institute of Virology as a bioweapon to mobilize biological warfare, posing it to be dangerous as its nuclear or chemical counterparts. Such looming threats are a real threat, and though our armed forces are trained to prepare for chemical, biological, radiological and nuclear attacks, more efforts ought to be considered. An apex center for chemical, biological, radiological and nuclear emergencies needs to be established on a priority basis, and collaborative training exercises for our forces by institutions engaged in this field could be beneficial to make our first responders to crisis truly first class. Our enhanced international cooperation in science and technology needs to be talked here. There is a need for international cooperation now more than ever to counter the matters relating to the weapons of mass destruction, especially in times of fast developing technology. Efforts for promotion of peaceful use of science and technology through technology transfer, sharing of information and exchange of equipment are being encouraged by India, as indicated in the UNGA resolution on role of science and technology in the context of international security and disarmament. And these efforts could be augmented by facilitating multilateral dialogues along with relevant stakeholders on current developments in science and technology and their potential impact on international security and disarmament efforts. The next point is on increasing criminal liability. In the 2005 Act, for aiding non-state actors or terrorists and violation of other provisions of the Act, there is no mention of an amount which would be liable as a fine. Unauthorized exports of weapons of mass destruction are punishable with fines ranging from 3 lakh rupees to 20 lakh rupees, and only a repeat offence result in imprisonment for a 6-month period extendable up to 5 years. Offenders convicted under the Act often have strong financial backing, and such an amount is minuscule in comparison. Therefore, I urge the Centre to levy more severe fines and enforcement on the convicted offenders. I commend the efforts made by the Centre to contribute to elimination of weapons of mass destruction and implementing crucial steps to ensure their effective control. This bill is a step forward to counter the threat posed by these weapons, and we from YSR Congress Party support this bill. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next speaker is Manoj Kumar Jha. Mr. Jha, the floor is yours.
Thank you so very much, sir. Very pleased to see you there. We make a great combination, as the history shows. So I'll speak on the bill and I'll speak through the bill. Please protect me and allow me. So first, before I speak on the bill, I'll draw your attention, sir, to the Hindi title of the bill. I'll urge the minister, sir, please make sure that the Hindi we do for the bills, actually they are understandable for the common people. Now, weapon of mass destruction.
Secretary General will take note of it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But for instance, proliferation, paridan, I think it doesn't go down well. So, I know this bill is in accordance to international commitment. Fully agree with that. But important is, sir, we have international commitment in different other areas and realms. Indigenous population, labor, there we remain silent. I have no qualms, no disagreement. Please go ahead with this bill. But please also look at the commitments we have pending. हिंदी में भी आता हूं अभी. सर, साउथ के लोगों का बड़ा डिमांड रहता है, तो मैं बैलेंस कर रहा हूं. तो सर, इसको कहते हैं वेपन ऑफ डिस्ट्रैक्शन.
Please carry on. Please carry on.
So anyway, so identification of proliferation activities. I think this is one area where the bill is quite positive. Comprehensive legal measures have been envisaged. That's understandable. So we still remember when we talk about this bill, एंथ्रैक्स वाला पूरा जो मामला यूएस का था, और इस तरह की पूरी संभावनाएं हैं जहां पोस्टल डिपार्टमेंट को लिफाफे में इस तरह की चीजें पहुंचाई जा रही थी, जिससे मेरी चिंता माननीय मंत्री महोदय एक विषय पे खास तौर पे है. क्रिप्टो करेंसी को लेकर के जो हमारी ढुलमुल नीति है, हम क्रिप्टो को चाहते हैं या नहीं चाहते हैं, रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं करते हैं, लेकिन आमदनी को टैक्स करते हैं. सर, अभी से आपने घड़ी देखना शुरू कर दिया. आप सर मुझको देखिए, घड़ी को मत देखिए. जी सर. हाँ, वैसे भी सर विपक्ष के लिए अच्छी घड़ी नहीं है, तो आप कम से कम घड़ी ना देखें. मैं ये कहना चाह रहा था सर, खास करके पास्ट सेंचुरी सिंस सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर, ये हम लोगों के लिए दिक्कत है और जाहिर तौर पर हमारा मुल्क कई मामलों में बहुत वल्नरेबल है। तो हम एक काम, खास करके मैंने क्रिप्टो वाली जो बात कही थी उसके पीछे वजह ये थी सर कि एनोनिमस ट्रांजैक्शन है सर, कहीं इसका इस्तेमाल फाइनेंसिंग में तो नहीं होता, उसको फनल करने के लिए, चैनल करने के लिए, चोक करने के लिए मैं नहीं समझ पा रहा हूं कि इसमें कोई पुख्ता व्यवस्था है। सर, मेरा मानना है कि वेपन ऑफ मास डिस्ट्रक्शन पर बात करें, वेपन ऑफ मास डिसरप्शन पर भी बात। दुनिया हिल रही है, हमारा मुल्क भी हिल रहा है, सिर्फ इस तरह के हथियार और आयुध से नहीं। दुनिया हिल रही है कि एक प्रकार का जहर घोला जा रहा है दुनिया में और हमारे समाज में भी। वो जहर वातावरण में है सर, और उस जहर का असर ये हो रहा है कि हमारे आपसी रिश्ते शत्रुता में तब्दील हो गए हैं। हम अब राजनीतिक प्रतिस्पर्धी नहीं हैं, हम राजनीतिक दुश्मन बन चुके हैं। सो द फैक्ट ऑफ द मैटर इज वी आर आइडियोलॉजिकल इन आइडियोलॉजिकल कॉम्पिटिशन, पॉलिटिकल कॉम्पिटिशन फॉर हैव अ ग्रेटर फुटप्रिंट। लेकिन अगर शत्रुता की जुबान से बात होगी ना सर, तो समाज छत विच्छत हो रहा है, इसकी भी चिंता होनी चाहिए। चिंता अगर नहीं होगी तो ये जो वेपन ऑफ मास डिस्ट्रक्शन है ये बिल पास होगा सर, लेकिन वेपन ऑफ मास डिस्ट्रैक्शन एंड वेपन ऑफ मास डिसरप्शन जो हम अपने पूरे समाज में देख रहे हैं, खास तौर पर आजादी के 75वें वर्ष में, जहां आप बैठे, आपके ठीक सामने सर्वपल्ली राधाकृष्णन जी है, ये गांधी, नेहरू, बाबा साहब लोहिया का मुल्क है। हमने क्या बना दिया है सर? बौनी समझ, बौनी चिंतन। हम इस बिल के पक्ष में, लेकिन सर क्या इस तरह का एक बिल नहीं आना चाहिए कि वेपन ऑफ मास डिसरप्शन और वेपन ऑफ मास डिस्ट्रैक्शन जिसके माध्यम से हमारी प्राथमिकताएं खत्म की जा रही हैं, उस पर एक चर्चा हो। मैं इस बिल के पक्ष में हूं। सिवाय इसके माननीय मंत्री महोदय, मैं आपसे एक आग्रह करूंगा कि इंटरनेशनल कमिटमेंट की जब बात हो, आप रसूखदार मंत्री हैं, ब्यूरोक्रेसी से आए हैं, आप अपने रसूख का इस्तेमाल कीजिए और श्रम को लेकर के, श्रम और पूंजी के बीच का जो अनइवन रिलेशनशिप है उसमें भी इंटरवीन करिए। और जोर से जय हिंद, जिंदाबाद सर।
धन्यवाद। थैंक यू मिस्टर झा। द नेक्स्ट स्पीकर इज विकास रंजन भट्टाचार्य। नहीं है, नॉट प्रेजेंट। द नेक्स्ट स्पीकर इज रामनाथ ठाकुर जी।
श्रद्धेय पीठासीन उपसभापति महोदय, मैं इस बिल के पक्ष में बोलने के लिए खड़ा हुआ। यूपीए की सरकार ने इसको लाया था। इसको संशोधित करते हुए वर्तमान सरकार ने आम जनता के लिए यह संशोधन बिल पेश हुआ है। इस विधेयक की मूल भावना है वसुधैव कुटुंबकम। यह वाक्य संसद के प्रवेश कक्ष में अंकित है। इसका अर्थ है धरती ही परिवार है। इस भावना से विधेयक उन सभी विनाशकारी हथियारों पर प्रतिबंध लगाने की बात करता है। महोदय, हम यह सदन ये अपेक्षा करता है कि इस बिल के महत्व को देखते हुए जो आतंकवादियों द्वारा हथियारों का जो सप्लाई है, इस पर भारत सरकार निश्चित रूप से रोक लगाने का काम करेगी और धरती को और समाज को बचाने का काम करेगी। यह बिल जो अभी समय में लोगों के बीच में जा रहे हैं, आ रहे हैं और समाज डरा हुआ है, इस डर की भावना को भगाने के लिए यह बिल बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। मैं अपनी तरफ से, अपने दल की तरफ से इस बिल का समर्थन करता हूं।
धन्यवाद ठाकुर जी। द नेक्स्ट स्पीकर इज के रविंद्र कुमार।
Honorable Deputy Chairman, sir, I am very thankful to you for giving me this opportunity to participate in the consideration and passing an important piece of legislation for the welfare of the humankind. Sir, I am here wholeheartedly to support the bill. The bill is aimed to insert certain provisions in the Principal Act to prohibit financing any activity in relation to weapons and of mass destruction and their delivery system. Sir, the Principal Act covers unlawful activities relating to biological, chemical and nuclear weapons and their delivery system and provides for integrated legal measures to exercise controls over the export materials, equipment and technologies in relation to weapons of mass destruction and their delivery system, and for prevention of their transfer to non-state actors of terrorists. So the biological, chemical and nuclear weapons are severe threat to the humankind. In this perspective, a question assumes significance. Are we prepared for a full-fledged biological, chemical and nuclear warfare? I wish to know from the Honourable Minister what is the mechanism that have been put in the place of to face such warfare. I also urge the government to constitute a group of ministers consisting of the health and family, welfare, defence, chemicals and fertilizers and external affairs to draw them and implement national level plan to confront and counter any possible biological, chemical and nuclear warfare. Sir, everybody is aware that when there is a first phase of COVID-19 pandemic across the world, everybody felt and believed it is a biological warfare and the COVID-19 virus was released from a lab in a country. Though the possibility of such things could not be avoided, we must be very careful and cautious for forcing such things. Sir, this is, and there is a section possibility there. I would like to know from whether the provisions of the original act were not sufficient to deal with this subject also. I would like to quote section 15 of the original act, and it says the punishment for aiding non-state actor or terrorist. Already existing provisions in the original act itself is very clear, but I can understand there is no provision to seize the property. But at the same time, the punishment and other steps are already taken care of. Finally, I am fully with the Honourable Minister and the government ruthlessly crush the financing and any activity which even to any remote possibility is trying to help and activity to prepare or produce or help making weapons and mass destruction. But I just wish to seek one clarification in the pursuit of the Indian national interest and for more benevolent use of such technologies. Scientific research must have been taking place on such technologies. So I request the Honourable Ministers to simply clarify that the government is done to ensure such critical research on such technologies is not impeded even unintentionally due to this legislation. Sir, in view of this, I finally, with these words and cautions and certain steps is requested to the government, and once again I extend my support to the bill. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. The next speaker is Sri Vaiko. Not present. Dr. Fauzia Khan, not present. Sri Ramji, not present. So the next speaker is Dr. M. Tanvidurai.
Thank you, Vice Chairman, sir. So as our friend just now is said about the universal and the one family like that. There is a word, our Tamil also, Yadum Ure Yavarum Keli. That is the famous word. 2,000, 3,000 years before, our Tamil people said, the whole world is ours. They are all brothers. We must not discriminate and take weapons to kill other people. That basically, universally, that friendship is more important. The humanity consists that also very important. That is our slogan. That is our India. India is the philosophical country and which is always advocating the human rights and the humans, their democratic system, and that in that circumstances, already these weapons of mass destruction and their delivery system, prohibition, unlawful act, the amendment bill
2022 was introduced in the Lok Sabha and passed also. In the Lok Sabha, Honorable Minister replied. In his reply, he said, Economic Minister said that a need was felt to bring the bill as something was missing in the current law, and that there was a need to have provision to ban financing for weapons of mass destruction. That is what he said in that. That means we are already having the bill. That is the bill is called Weapons of Mass Destruction and the Delivery System Provision Law Act 2005. We are having that kind of bill. That is, according to the Honorable Minister's explanation in the other house, we need to change certain acts. We have to include that is very necessary. That is why he brought the bill and now we are discussing it, sir. The proposed bill focuses more on financial bit of activities supporting weapons of mass destructions and fits the missing block in fulfilling India's international obligations by adhering to the recommendation of the Financial Act Task Force and United Nations Security Council targeted financial sanctions against financing weapons of mass destruction. Sir, therefore, our government, Modi ji government has felt it necessary to include certain laws. There are so many classes already our Honorable Minister explained and given in this. But I did not necessarily go detail all those things. But the crux of the problem, what the objectives of the bill is to prohibit financing of any activities in relation to weapons of mass destruction and delivery system, empower the central government to freeze, seize or attach funds of other financial assets of economic resources for preventing such financing. Prohibit making available funds, financial assets or economic resources for any prohibited activities in relation to weapons of mass destruction and delivery systems. This is the main thing what our government feels. There our ADMK party and we are supporting this, whatever the minister has begun is a nice thing as amendments he is bringing. This is, we are wholeheartedly supporting the Modi government bringing this kind of bill and the House to pass it. I hope all will support this bill, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next speaker is Sri Prakash Javadekar.
माननीय उपसभापति, मुझे बहुत यह आनंद होता है कि एक सरकार ने महत्वपूर्ण बिल लाया है, दिखने में छोटा है, लेकिन इसके पीछे जो विचार है वो विचार देश की और दुनिया की सिक्योरिटी स्ट्रेंथन करने का है। क्योंकि दुनिया ने देखा है कितने प्रकार के हमले हुए हैं, कैसी टेक्नोलॉजी नई नई आ रही है और कितना संकट पैदा करते हैं। अभी हमारे एक साथी उन्होंने कहा वो दुनिया में सैकड़ों लोगों को, केवल नहीं तो करोड़ों लोगों को यह आशंका है कि क्या कोविड एक बायोलॉजिकल वेपन था। आशंका है। मेरा विश्वास है कि सच्चाई आज नहीं कल कभी न कभी सामने आती है, तब देखेंगे, चर्चा करेंगे। लेकिन एक मुझे पहले ही बताना चाहिए कि हमारे एक मित्र मनोज झा जी, उन्होंने कहा कि मास वेपन्स ऑफ मास डिस्ट्रक्शन की जगह, यानी उसको तो उन्होंने सपोर्ट दिया, लेकिन वेपन्स ऑफ मास डिसरप्शन इस पर उन्होंने बोला। पिछले 4 दिन से जो हम राज्यसभा में और लोकसभा में देख रहे हैं उसी को मास डिसरप्शन कहते हैं, यह हमें समझना चाहिए। मास डिसरप्शन करके डिस्कशन से भागना, इसको मास डिसरप्शन कहते हैं। और आज जो हम देख रहे हैं कि बाहर कहना जाकर कि चर्चा नहीं हो रही है, और चर्चा के लिए सदैव प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कहा कि हम किसी भी विषय पे चर्चा करने के लिए तैयार है, लेकिन चर्चा करेंगे नहीं, चर्चा के समय भाग जाएंगे, बाकी समय अंदर आके वो शोर शराबा करेंगे। यही विपक्ष की नकारा राजनीति है और इसका परिणाम आप देख रहे हैं। एक के बाद एक इलेक्शन में लोग उनको उनकी जगह दिखा रहे हैं। और आज भी मुझे खुशी है कि हमारे आज जो मतगणना हो रही है, देश की पहली आदिवासी राष्ट्रपति आज जब घोषित होगी, एक रिकॉर्ड मत से होगी। क्यों होगी? क्योंकि एक तैयार किया है माहौल देश के कल्याण का, दुनिया के कल्याण का, और भारत का रोल है उसमें। और इसलिए ये बिल क्या कहता है? बिल कहता है केमिकल, बायोलॉजिकल और न्यूक्लियर। लोग कहेंगे कहाँ केमिकल होगा, कहाँ बायोलॉजिकल होगा, कहाँ न्यूक्लियर होगा, लेकिन ऐसा ही लोगों को पता नहीं था कैसे कैसे टेररिज्म होगा, ये पता नहीं था। अमेरिका जैसे देश में कोई मान नहीं रहा था, क्योंकि उनको वो समझते थे कि भाई वहां इतना दूर उनका देश है, चारों ओर से समुंदर है, तो कैसे टेररिज्म हमारे पर हमला होगा। मुझे याद है अटल जी प्रधानमंत्री थे, यूएन में गए थे और उन्होंने कहा किसी को यह नहीं समझना चाहिए कि टेररिज्म से हम फ्री रहेंगे, हम पर कोई हमला नहीं करेगा। और फिर देखा कि ट्विन टावर पर हमला हुआ। तो ये होता है, हम पार्लियामेंट में बैठे, पार्लियामेंट पर हमला हुआ, किसी ने सोचा नहीं था। और पार्लियामेंट का हमला, अगर हमारे 12 बहादुर जवान जिन्होंने अपने प्राण की आहुति दी, उन्होंने अगर बचाया नहीं होता तो क्या होता, इसकी कल्पना नहीं कर सकते। तो ये टेररिज्म का संकट लोगों को लगता है कि दूर है, नहीं है। एक मैं और याद दिलाना चाहता हूं कि जैसे 2004 से 2014 के बीच आए दिन अब बम विस्फोट का सिलसिला देखते थे। दिल्ली में 3 बार हुआ, पुणे में 1 बार हुआ, मुंबई में 2 बार हुआ, चंडीगढ़ में हुआ, वाराणसी में हुआ, अहमदाबाद में हुआ। जगह जगह टेररिज्म के इतने हमले हुए कि आए दिन हम बम विस्फोट का सामना करते थे और देखते थे लोग कैसे सफर कर रहे हैं। लेकिन मुझे खुशी है कि लोगों को यह भी समझना चाहिए कि पिछले 8 साल में ऐसे शहर शहर में होने वाले बम विस्फोट खत्म हुए। ये मोदी सरकार ने जो नीति की, और नीति क्या की, जो इस बिल में भी है, कि फाइनेंस बंद करो, वेपन्स उनको न मिले ऐसा देखो, जो उनका ओवरग्राउंड सपोर्ट है वो खत्म करो। ये जब होता है तो हमने देखा है कि माओइस्ट वायलेंस में भी जितना विस्तार था और जितनी मात्रा थी, आज 1/4 रह गया है, वो भी खत्म हो जाएगा। इस देश से आतंक का नाम मिटेगा जब ऐसी सरकार होगी कि जो पूरी तरह से उसको काम करती है, सभी राज्यों के सहयोग से, इंटेलिजेंस का शेयरिंग करके। मैं मणिपुर में 2 बार बहुत समय इंचार्ज था, तो मैंने देखा है कैसे इंसर्जेंसी थी, कैसे मिलिटेंसी थी। आज खत्म हुई, लगभग खत्म हुई। क्यों हुई खत्म? इसीलिए खत्म हुई कि ये एक सरकार है कि जो एक तरफ संवाद भी करते हैं, मुद्दों को सुलझाती भी है, और जो कदम उठाने हैं कि फाइनेंसिंग बंद करेंगे, ओवरग्राउंड सपोर्ट बंद करेंगे, वेपन्स नहीं मिलेंगे ऐसा उपाय करेंगे, यही उसका रास्ता है। और ये बिल इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे सभी देशों की एक कमिटमेंट है कि हम, क्योंकि कोई भी टेरर बिना फाइनेंस का हो नहीं सकता। पाकिस्तान से आए दिन यहां घुसपैठी होती है, वो हम देखते हैं, पढ़ते हैं। कोई ना कोई फाइनेंस किए बिना मुंबई पर थोड़ा ही ना हमला होता है। तो फाइनेंस एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है टेररिज्म में। और ये केवल केमिकल, बायोलॉजिकल, न्यूक्लियर, ये पॉसिबल थ्रेट्स है। प्रिएम्प्टिव स्टेप हम ले रहे हैं। आज नहीं अनुभव किया है लेकिन कल नहीं होगा ऐसा नहीं कह सकते। और इसलिए मोदी सरकार ने 2005 में जो सदन ने सहमति से पास किया बिल है, उसी में ये एक अमेंडमेंट कर रहे हैं, एनेबलिंग अमेंडमेंट है कि भाई इस तरह के आतंकवाद के सामने उसको कोई भी अगर मदद करेगा तो ऐसे सबके संपत्ति भी जब्त होगी, कुर्क होगी, उसको फाइनेंस कर नहीं सकते, उनको सजा भी होगी और उनको अटैचमेंट भी आएगी। तो ये यही कह रहे हैं। बिल तो छोटा है लेकिन मुद्दा बड़ा है। देश की सुरक्षा, दुनिया की सुरक्षा, भारत की प्रतिबद्धता और दुनिया की प्रतिबद्धता के साथ हम हमारे देश में भी आतंक का समापन करेंगे और दुनिया में भी एक अच्छी व्यवस्था कायम हो, इसके लिए प्रयास करेंगे। यही इस बिल का मूल है। मैं इस बिल को समर्थन भी दे रहा हूं और मंत्री महोदय को विशेष धन्यवाद देता हूं। जय हिंद।
Sir, this, as Javadekar ji just now mentioned, this is a very important bill which concerns the security, global security, all these aspects. And the government would like to have this bill passed with the participation of the opposition also. But unfortunately, the opposition is absent today. So I would suggest that if we wait for a day or two, and if the opposition is ready to come back and participate in the discussion, so we can take up this bill and keep it in abeyance for a day and have it on Monday again when we meet and continue the discussion and then pass the bill accordingly.
Thank you. Sounds better. Sri Bandana Chavan, report of the department-related Parliamentary Standing Committee on Science and Technology, Environment, Forests and Climate Change.
I'm sorry I wasn't present in the House when I was called out, but thank you for considering. So I rise to present Volume 1 in English and Hindi of the 365th report containing recommendations of the Committee on the Wildlife Protection Amendment Bill 2021 of the Department-related Parliamentary Standing Committee on Science and Technology, Environment, Forests and Climate Change. Also to present Volume 2 in the languages received of the 365th report containing memoranda submitted by individuals, experts and institutions.
Thank you.
Sir.
You will have your opportunity, Mr. Vasan. Now, the House stands adjourned to meet at 11 hours on Friday, the 22nd July 2022.